I figured that, I would explain the Brent Burns thing. That went over really well. Anyways, I wanted to do two things. One, I wanted to show off the new jersey. I didn't have an unboxing because those are becoming more and more contentious, and I only had the one. I also had a lot of nice left-handed items purchased for me by my mother-in-law. Thank you very much. I now have left-handed items, meaning that they are mine. Nobody else in the house is left-handed. There's no reason for anybody to take them. I may even need a left-handed drawer. Mine. I want cans to open because I have a left-handed can opener. It's wonderful. Left-handed. That's why often my writing does what it does. So I wanted to look at Vezina, because Vezina is going to be contentious, and there's a number of goalies that are in the running. And the problem is this. I organize them by save percentage, and people don't like that because they get into, well, what's the higher quality shot? Here's the thing. When you're looking at the league MVP, normally the league MVP is a leading scorer on one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league. And that's it. Very often, he'll be the Art Ross winner. I look at trophies in the league and I kind of shrug and go, oh, well, reputation has as much to do with anything else. Now, with goaltenders, save percentage is important unless you're Marty Brodeur. Marty Brodeur, his save percentage was good, but he usually wasn't at the top. So I'm not necessarily going to rule out people that aren't at the top. But here's the problem. St. Louis fans will point out Carter Hutton. Carter Hutton has .944 save percentage. He's 15-5-1 and a 1.7 goals against, but he's only played 25 games. I cannot remember seeing a goaltender win a Vezina who doesn't play at least, I want to say 50 would be the minimum. So he's out. So's Fleury. Fleury, 23 games, 16-5-2, 2.03 goals against, .934 save percentage. I know he was injured. You know he was injured. It doesn't matter. When they do the voting for Vezina, he doesn't win. Vasilevsky's in the sweet spot. He's played 45 games. He's got 32 wins. He is far and above the highest in win totals. 10 losses, 2 overtime losses, 2.27 goals against, and a .929 save percentage. He is above everybody else. Crawford, Chicago fans talk about Crawford. Crawford's been hurt too long. He's only played 28 games, 16-9-2, 2.31 goals against average. He's also got a .929 save percentage, but he's not going to hit 50 games. So he doesn't play enough games to win a Vezina trophy. Pekka Rinne, 39 games, 27-8-4, 231 goals against, and a .926. So I will say Vasilevsky and Rinne, absolutely right now would be probably top 2. Rinne's on pace for about 50 games. The interesting one to me is, and this is, Boston fans are going to get in on this one, Rask. Rask and Hudobin remarkably similar numbers. Rask in 35 games, 22-8-4. Hudobin, 19 games, 11-3-4. Rask has a 2.09 goals against. Rask has a 2.31 goals against. Hudobin has a 2.09. Rask has a .926 save percentage. Hudobin has a .925. So, when they do their voting, do they look at Hudobin and Rask having the same numbers and say they both had great seasons? Or do they look and say maybe Rask didn't face the same quality of shots as the other goalies, therefore his save percentage is deceptively high? Do they look at Hudobin's number and say, you know what, that takes away from Rask because that's just too high? I know that that's not correct, Boston fans, but I'm just saying, for voters, they're going to vote 1, 2, 3. Does it hurt Rask? For me, Rask is a contender for it, but the guy who could steal that number 3 spot from him is Hellebuck. 28-7-8, 2.36 goals against, .923 save percentage. And what favors Hellebuck as well is the feel-good story of the Winnipeg Jets. The team that was at the bottom forever, and now they're rising up, and they look like they could finish at the top. If Winnipeg manages to hold on to that number 1 spot in the division, and it's going to be tough because Nashville is going to make it tough, St. Louis and Dallas is only 3 points out of first now. So it's going to be a 4-way dogfight. If they emerge on top, Hellebuck has a good chance because his team's at the top, everybody's doing well. But if the team manages to stay in that dogfight, and if they manage to be within a couple points of first, again, that favors Hellebuck. There is, of course, the Freddie Anderson comments. 46 games, he's played more than anybody else on here other than Mike Smith. 26 wins, 15 losses, 4 ties, 2.64 goals against, and a .922 save percentage. So with Anderson, what works in his favor is these two numbers here. His goals against being higher works in his favor because his save percentage stays the same. That means he's facing more shots than everybody else. They may take a look at Anderson's stats and say, you know what, how many quality shots is he facing? And weigh that against other goalies in the running. Anderson legitimately could be a top 3 guy. Gibson, 40 games, 18 wins, 4 losses, 5 overtime losses, 2.63 goals against, 922 save percentage. Again, injuries may factor into it, and the fact that Anaheim isn't really playing very well. They may miss the playoffs. That may hurt his stock. Smith, 22, 16, and 6 in 46 games, 2.54 goals against, and a 921. So again, a goals against average that's a little bit higher than others while keeping that save percentage in line. Look, Bishop's got a 2.43. Quick's got a 2.47, which has come up a lot from where it was. I cut it off at Quick because Quick was considered to be, if he comes back and plays really well, LA wins. It's highly unlikely that Quick will make up enough of a difference in the save percentage to threaten these guys. So if I was saying the top 3 right now, I would say Vasilevsky in Tampa, Rene in Nashville, and I'd go off the board and say Anderson in Toronto. Because of the fact that Anderson faces more high-quality shots than do other goaltenders. So because he's in a shooting gallery a lot of the time, compared to the others ahead of him, I think he would get the favor. He would be favored ahead of Hellebuck, who has a 2.36, so he has a goals against average that's 0.28 below Anderson, and yet he's only got a save percentage that's 0.01 ahead of him. So, really, you look at that and you can argue Anderson's having a better year than Hellebuck. Hellebuck would probably be 4th, and I think Rask would probably be 5th. And again, I'm not shortchanging Hutton and Fleury. I'm just saying that when they do the voting, the goalies who've played less than 50 games don't generally get votes. They don't generally get that consideration. And it would be the same with players. If players play below a certain amount of time, the odds of them winning an Art Ross, well, an Art Ross is impossible for the most part unless you're Lemieux in the 80s. But a Hart. The Hart's the one I'm looking for. It's highly unlikely you're going to win that. So the question I have to ask you guys is, I cut this off at Quick, and I could have gone on to Dell, I could have gone on to Jari. Those are the next 2 on save percentage. And I don't necessarily agree that save percentage makes that big a difference, but these 2 numbers are what they look at very often. Save percentage and goals against average. Goals against average is team driven. You can argue that save percentage is skewed for or against certain goalies based on the amount of shots they face and from where. But when they do the voting at the end of the year, this is what makes them decide who the best goaltender is. So let me know who your pick is. Let me know who you think's got it. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way around and you just happen upon this video. And hey, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.